down the basement, lock the cellar door, and baby, talk bloody to me.
Hi, and welcome to another exciting edition of Talk Bloody to Me. I'm Matt,
And I'm Breezy.
and today we're here with another fan request episode. What are we talking about today, Breezy?
We are talking about Oddity.
Yes, this is a 2024 movie.
hmm
It was a Shudder release, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Excuse me.
That's what it said, anyways.
Yeah, it had Shudder's logo at the beginning of it, and I think it did anyway. I don't remember. But anyway, this is a ghost story, kind of murder mystery, paranormal thriller. And it's kind of cool.
It kind of reminds me of Conjuring.
Conjuring, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Um, so basically, what the story's about is there's a woman is murdered, and just give you kind of a general overview. A woman is murdered, and her twin sister runs an antique store with a lot of supernatural stuff, supposedly cursed things, and then she kind of
And
uses her skills to get revenge.
she's also blind too.
Oh yeah, she's blind.
It took me, well, actually, it took me about halfway through the movie to realize that she's blind.
Yeah, because they don't mention it ever. She just kind of sits there and stares, and so she could just be kind of weird, but yeah.
But well, like when she was walking around, there was like those like blind like canes type deal. That's
Hmm.
like, oh, she's blind.
Yeah. So she's psychic and she can tell the history of any object she touches. Um, but the movie starts off, the woman is in her home. She's out in the country. They don't really have signal very well, and her husband's a psychiatrist and he's at work, and someone knocks at the door and it's a creepy guy. And he's like, I saw someone go in your house. I'm here to warn you. And she's like, no, you're
With this
creepy and weird.
really weird eye too, like kind of like a glass ball eye, contact eye, or something like that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a glass eye, but usually when they make glass eyes, the whole point of a glass eye is to try and make it look real so that people can't tell it's a glass eye. And this one is like the glassiest, pale, creepy, gross glass eye that they ever made. It's like make it look as weird as possible.
Okay, so have you seen like the Nun based off of the Conjuring?
I haven't. No, I saw The Conjuring 2 with the where the nun appears, but I haven't seen the actual nun movie.
Oh, okay. So have you actually seen pictures of the nun from
Oh
that movie?
yeah. Oh
Okay,
yeah.
well, his eyeball looks like her eyeballs.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good
That's what it
point.
reminds me
Yeah,
of.
right. And so he's like, "You gotta let me in. Someone snuck into your house." And she's like, obviously a little, no, no, I'm not so sure about this. And then it turns out, oh, well, she's one of her husband's patients. And she's like, "Oh my God, I've seen The Sixth Sense. I know where this is going. You're gonna murder me." So anyway, it jumps ahead and the movie jumps around a little bit. And so that guy, you don't know what happened, but that guy's accused of the murder. And then he gets murdered, and it's like, oh, what happened? And you see a hand holding his weird, creepy fake eye.
Yeah,
And then fast forward, so now you meet the woman who was murdered. Her twin sister is the blind one that runs the antique store, and the sister's husband, the psychiatrist, comes to visit her. They talk about we should get together sometime. That sounds like a great plan. Okay, bye. He goes to his house where he meets his new girlfriend, and he's got a new girlfriend already. And then the sister shows up and is like, "Hi, remember how you said we should get together? Well, here I am." And he's like, "Well, I didn't mean like right away, basically." And she's like, "Well, too bad, I'm here now." And then she's like, "Oh, you got a girlfriend already? That's interesting. That's kind of crazy." And then there's a box that has a big wooden creepy mannequin thing inside of it.
Mhm.
And then some spooky stuff starts to happen. And
So
then
did
there's
you
mysterious mysteries.
so did you pick up from the beginning from like that old no, not actually that guy that came to the door
Mm-hmm.
and was about to kill her, like, oh my gosh, you know, say me what you just said.
Yep.
Well, fast forward to the uh the sister, the blind one that was still living,
Mm-hmm.
that and she was sitting at the table,
Mm-hmm.
and um there was another girl that sat next to the table with her, and they were like kind of like talking. And
Mm-hmm.
then she was talking, and she was like looking at this, and then look at the camera did not go to that direction yet. And
Uh-huh.
those two were still talking. And then she was like doing this one more time, and the camera moved to the other side of the table, and you see like mummy looking. It's the same guy.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, and he's like, just like that,
Yeah.
just sitting there, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that is like creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
So did you pick up on that?
Yeah, that's awesome. And then yeah, the thing kind of moves and they're really cool how they do the techniques of like how they set things up. They show things ahead of time and then they kind of lead you into it. Like they show that because they're interested in paranormal, their house is being renovated, and so they don't have heat, so she's sleeping in a tent in the basement, and they have a camera set up on a timer that takes pictures like
Yeah.
every 5 minutes because they're trying to catch a ghost or something on camera. Well, you eventually find out that it wasn't the creepy guy that killed her. He actually was trying to warn her, but she didn't let him in. And then she goes down and she grabs her camera and she goes and sits in her tent and she's looking through the pictures and it's like tent, 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 tent. Creepy guy standing next to the tent, all in black with a weird mask. It's like
Yeah.
that's creepy as as
And then all of a sudden, like she got murdered in the tent, and all of a sudden,
yeah,
that was
exactly.
probably a little bit too loud. I'm sorry, listeners.
Yeah. But
But
it
it was
was
like,
exactly like that though.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like blood spatters all over the tent.
I think it was like because they did kind of a technique where it was like the camera flashed and then they did like it was almost like the before and after of the killing, like with the camera flashed and it was the clean tent and then and just like that it was all gore and
Yep.
blood and everything.
I actually did not expect that, actually.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was probably one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie.
Uh, there's not like I do. Yeah, that's probably my favorite scene in the movie
Yeah.
too.
There's
Um,
not a whole lot of gore or killing, but it's a very kind of
well,
creepy, mysterious, paranormal kind of vibe.
yeah, it's a paranormal movie. More
Yeah.
so, I do like the paranormal aspect. It did remind me so much of The Conjuring because, like you said, she's blind and she can only touch things
Hmm.
with. That's how she communicates in a way.
Yep.
So that's why it kind of reminds me of Conjuring because they collect odd things because
Hmm.
there's something evil in that certain object or things.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and there's a part where she's like in her collection and she has like a case behind her of just really cool. There's like the monkey shines monkey looking thing and there's like just different like haunted looking things. This is really cool.
mhm.
Um, but you find out when she meets her sister's husband when he visits her and she's holding a little metal bell and she tells a story about how it was haunted by the ghost of a bellhop who at this hotel I don't remember the story. The bellhop got killed, something happened, tragic, and so now whoever rings the bell the bellhop appears and he's, well, why don't you just ring it and show me? And she's like, well, everyone that rings it gets killed with immediately or whatever. And so it's like, so you can tell that he's like this lady's full of crap. He doesn't believe that. He's skeptical, but that sets something up for later. And but go ahead.
Do you think because of that whole Bella thing, do you think there's going to be an like Oddity part two?
There could be. They very well could be.
I think so, but maybe not.
Yeah,
I can
because
see it taking it further, yes.
they kind of wrapped up all the loose ends, so they wouldn't need to make a part two. Well, you could say they did because so how it ends. So well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But first, we'll talk a little bit more. The lady, the blind lady, she murders the guy who is accused of killing the sister, and she takes his weird, creepy eye. That's who you saw holding the eyeball. And because she has the psychic power that whatever she touches, she learns the whole history of the person, and the more personal the object, the more powerful it is. So his eyeball was pretty personal. So she learns he didn't actually do it, and that it was actually the husband set the whole thing up because he had already met this woman and was in love with her, but didn't want to get a divorce and lose his big fancy house. So he hired an orderly to go murder his wife, and the whole thing was a setup. And so
Yeah.
she knows this, and so she's wanting revenge.
Hmm.
Yep. And then fast forward, so she what was in that wooden thing, that mummy thing? Like the woman was
I
pulling
don't know.
things
I
out of
was
its
trying to
head.
figure that out.
There was like a rolled up picture of the two girls as little kids. And then there was like something that I don't know what it was. It looked like it could have been like a piece of cloth or something, but she pulled a bunch of stuff out of its holes in its head. It was almost like a pentagram on its head with
Yeah.
holes.
Like, but didn't she? No, she did not. Well, she did punch him in the head
Yeah.
and made a whole bunch of holes. But then with it was just that whole scene was just like it was weird, and you're trying to. It makes your mind kind of going like, what, like how, what?
Yeah,
Okay, am I missing something here? It keeps your mind going, which I do like. And like some of these movies don't keep your mind going, but when it
exactly.
comes to like certain things like that, I like it when you like, what the hell? What's
Yeah.
going on here? It makes you pay attention and think.
Exactly. Those are my favorite kind of movies. And also you it makes it where you want to go back and watch it again. And when you
Mm.
do, you like see all the stuff that was set up, that like, oh, they set that up way back there. Because like at the very beginning, they show her putting like a panel in the floor, like a square trap door panel. And then later on, the husband tells the blind woman, "I'm going to call you, and when you hear the phone, answer." But he took that panel out, so she walks forward and she hears the phone and goes to answer it and falls right through, schmack, to her death.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that like you catch, like, oh, there's little details and things. It's really cool. It makes you think.
Yeah, it does.
Hmm.
It's like they call it Easter eggs. Like, oh, I'm gonna watch it. Like, this is my fourth time watching it. I just want to see more Easter eggs.
Yeah, exactly.
They call it Easter eggs.
Yeah.
I call it me hunting for more prizes. I'm just being a goofball.
Yeah. Uh, and that mummy thing eventually starts like moving around and going crazy, and it reminded me of stop motion, but not because it was crappy, but just kind of how it looked, like the movie stop motion.
Oh, I didn't even think about stop motion when I
Yeah.
seen that.
It was like this is what stop motion could have been if it was good.
Yeah, it could have been easily been
Yep.
that way, but no. Oh my God, you got to bring that up.
Yeah, exactly. It also just not so much the story, but just kind of the style of it and like how it
Um,
looked reminded me of Oculus, and that's maybe just because it's called Oddity and Oculus are so close together in their name, but they both are dealing with supernatural and haunted and paranormal, and they're both in like a big house and have that sort of haunted house vibe to them. So,
or Insidious is what
oh,
about
that
you?
too. And like you said earlier, The Conjuring. All good staples.
Mm-hmm. We should review those too, pretty soon.
Yep.
Good movies.
Yep. So that's pretty much it for Oddity, as far as I can think of. Any final thoughts, things you want to say about Oddity?
Uh, not too much. Would I watch it again? Yeah, I would watch it again. How about you?
Yeah, I actually wanted to watch it again right away just to like see all the stuff I missed, because I know I missed something. I know there's stuff I missed, and I want to, now that I know kind of how it ends, because before the first time I was like, well, what's this? What's going on with this? And now that I sort of know how it ends, I can pay more attention to, okay, let's look for the Easter eggs. Let's find the clues. Let's solve the mystery. Get
And
the
then
Scooby Doo gang together.
and then next week we're going to do a double feature, so keep in mind in that one.
Oh my gosh, what are we doing?
So you want me to say it? I'm pretty sure the listeners want us to.
Okay, we'll keep it a surprise. Or do you want think they'll just
Okay,
want to know?
okay. spoiler listeners, we are next week we're going to do a double feature. Something that we really haven't done, but we're going to do it anyways, just the hell of it. We are going to do Stephen King's Pet Cemetery, the old one,
Yep.
and then we're going to compare it to that Pet Cemetery to the remake of Pet
Yes.
Cemetery. So we're going to compare the two.
This was actually an idea we had way back on our second episode with My Bloody Valentine. We were going to do the old one and the remake and compare the two. And then at the last minute, well, not at the last minute, but we talked about it and said, nah, let's just do the old one. Let's not bite off more than we can chew on our second episode. So now we're going to revisit that idea.
Yep.
And I don't want to be buried in a pet
I
cemetery.
think it's a good idea.
I think it is. Mm-hmm.
Compare the two, and we haven't done Stephen King's any movies at all. So
Holy shit. We need to fix that immediately.
yeah, I know, right? That's why I'm like, okay, you know what? We got to do this.
Yep.
It's time.
I agree. So that's next week. But what would you rate Oddity?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I would rate this probably 7 out of 10. I wish there was more jump scares.
Yep. I'm exactly the same. I give it 7 out of 10. I thought it was well done in that there was, it's complex and the stuff was set up ahead of time. They didn't just pull stuff out of their thin air, and it rewards you for watching it a second time and you think about it, and it's a little mysterious, but at times it is a little slow, and there's not really a whole lot of killing or gore if that's what you're looking for in a horror movie, but it is still cool. So 7 out of 10.
There is some good jump scares, not a lot, but there is some.
There is some, and then there's some stuff that's just like you said, that mummy thing just is creepy.
Hmm.
Yep, which is
Yeah.
always good. I like a good creepy. All right, that's it for another creepy week of Talk Bloody to Me.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.